Sneezing, coughing, laughing. These are things that some women, pregnant or postpartum, are nervous about. Nervous because they don't want to leak, they don't want to have incontinence, they don't want to wet their pants in these moments, and it might be that they've had a little leak in a situation where they've coughed or they've sneezed or they've laughed, and they go, oh my goodness, I don't want to have a big accident anytime soon. So here's the thing, pelvic floor first. It's so important. When you do your exercises, and I definitely go over this in my pregnancy program and in my core rehab postpartum program, but pelvic floor engagement first before you do any sort of abdominal exercise. And these three things too. Now it's hard to activate your pelvic floor quickly before you cough or you sneeze, and laughing, you know, let's hope we can laugh forever without leaking. But if you can just train your body, particularly in this stage of your life, pregnancy, postpartum, to think about an engagement of your pelvic floor literally just before you sneeze or you cough. Easier said than done. When we go through pelvic floor strengthening or engagement, then we focus on strength, so a strong contraction and a release, because release is equally as important as the contraction. We talk about endurance, so a lift and a hold, not at maximum, maybe at 50% of your maximum, an endurance hold. And then we also talk about coordination, so a fast activation. And that fast activation is what's going to help you when it comes to activating your pelvic floor quickly. So for a cough or for a sneeze. So I go through this in detail in my core rehab particularly, and of course in the pregnancy program, but it's a matter of training all three levels. So you don't want to just be able to hold your pelvic floor and that's it, and not necessarily have the strength or have a quick reaction. And vice versa. You don't want to just be able to have a quick reaction, but then you're driving home and you're 5 minutes from home and you need to pee. You need to be able to hold on. That's where the endurance comes in. And if you've got a full bladder and you're holding on and then a sneeze comes or a cough comes, that's when you can certainly have these accidents. So being aware of training your pelvic floor appropriately. More is not better. There is such thing as an overactive pelvic floor, and that is where the muscle, if you can imagine it engages and releases like this. So actually like this if I'm sitting upright, but you've got that engagement. And if my pelvic floor is too tight and doesn't release completely, then we get stuck here or here, and it stays tight and can't release as well. And that is not a functional pelvic floor. So if then I get some leakage, it's not going to help me to do more pelvic floor exercises. A tight pelvic floor needs to be able to release, let go. And I do have a really good lengthening pelvic floor routine, which is really good for anyone who's got an overactive pelvic floor, but also really good for later in the third trimester, because when it comes to birth, you need to allow your pelvic floor to let go. It's not just about tightening. It's very much about letting go and opening and releasing. So there you go. When it comes to coughing, sneezing, laughing, a quick activation before, maybe sitting down if you need to, or being conscious of that. It's so much harder to do that than to just train your pelvic floor and be confident. So you will get there. If you're in your pregnancy at the moment and you've got weakness, certainly focus on your pelvic floor exercises. If you're early postpartum, and particularly if you've had a vaginal birth, that there is damage, there is weakness, and that is okay. It's going to get better. It's going to heal. So do all the things that you can do at the moment to get through this phase. Do the core rehab exercises I have, and you will get to a point in your life again where you can sneeze, cough, and laugh confidently without any leakage. Of course, if you've got any questions, drop them below, and I have so much more over at pregactive.com. If you like this video, give it a like, and of course, subscribe to the channel for more just like this.